When I was in the building for Ole Miss's matchup with the number one team in the land, Bruce Pearl and Auburn. The Tigers came in 7-0 in conference play. Ole Miss looking for their first ever win over an AP number one, and they came out looking pretty good. There, Malik Dia on the slam on the fast break, get it out the net pretty quick. Whoa there, big fella. Rebs down 7. Auburn on fire in this one, particularly from 3. Denver Jones on the kick out, 16 points for him. Auburn made 14 threes in this game. 2 of them came from Janai Broome, the potential player of the year. Just before the half, a little step back, and that puts Auburn up 7, 41-34 going into the second half. But Sean Pedulla put all of Oxford on his back for this one. Can I have this dance? A little splash in your eye for 3. Pedulla's best game of the season, 29 points. And then he's going to give a little helper to my man Matthew Morrell here, another ankle breaker. Morrell had 17 points. Ole Miss got as close as 1 point in this one, but Auburn closed pretty strong. 5 players in double figures. Janai Broome had 20 and 12. Tigers survived 92-82, but Chris Beard says this validates that his team is for real.
I thought we played hard enough to win today. And I'm not so sure, just my opinion, I'm not so sure this is one of the better games Auburn's played. They get what seemed like 5 or 6 guys in double figures. They had the special performances. We had Sean and Matt. I think Brakefield minus the turnovers was right there in an A-type game. They had 3 or 4 guys show up and play, in my opinion, their A games.
So certainly a difficult one to swallow if you're the Ole Miss Rebels, because you're right there in this game. And I think that's the biggest thing that's going to stick out for Chris Beard. I'm actually trying to pull something up real quick. The 3-point shooting for the Auburn Tigers was incredible in this one. And I think in a lot of games, the Ole Miss Rebels probably would have won against a lot of teams in the SEC with the way they played. But their inability to stop Auburn from shooting from the 3-point line was really the Achilles heel in this one. 14 of 28 from 3. I think if you pull up the box score in this one, it was 3 or 4 players who had 4 or more in this game. That's really going to be difficult for any team to win. You just can't, especially when the other team has the presumptive potential college basketball player of the year in Janai Broome. This game was really good. 20 points, 12 rebounds for Janai Broome in this one, but he also had just the cast of characters really came to play. 5 players in double figures. Chad Baker-Mazara, 4 of 6 from 3. Denver Jones, 4 of 7 from 3. They had 18 and 16 respectively. 15 points from Miles Kelly. And then they also got it done in the paint. Ole Miss was out-rebounded by 10-plus again, which has continued to be kind of a theme for this team. I think at this point in the year, you just know they're not going to be a great rebounding team, kind of trying to keep it close in a lot of aspects. But Dylan Cardwell, on top of Janai Broome, who had a double-double, Dylan Cardwell had 10 points and 12 rebounds himself in this game. So it's not gonna get it done in a lot of games. But for the positive for the Rebels, I think you got an absolutely dynamite game from Sean Pedulla in this one. 29 points, a season high for him. He was doing it every which way he wanted to. Shot well from the 3-point line, 3 of 6. Actually shot 10 of 16 for the game. 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals. He was doing it on both ends. The Rebels got a really strong contribution from Jamin Brakefield, who had 12 points. I think most of that was in the first half. Did have 4 turnovers, and Coach Beard kind of pointed that out in the post-game presser. Just kind of didn't get enough from him there in the second half. But what I thought was really encouraging for this one was you got probably the best game in the SEC that you've gotten from Matthew Morrell, 17 points. He's only had a double digits in 2 straight games in conference once this season. That was January 14th at Alabama, where they won, and Alabama was a top 5 team in the country, and they still are, and then January 18th at Mississippi State. So I think if they can continue to get better production from Matthew Morrell, kind of hearing from the coaching staff, it seems like he's doing a lot just to get his body prepared each and every night. He's really been struggling with some injuries, kind of some nagging stuff. If you can get more production from him moving forward, I think is really going to bode well for Ole Miss down the stretch. Yeah, you lost this game. Yeah, you're in you've lost 3 of the last 4, but against some really good competition. This game, I agree with what Coach Beard said, and Sean Pedulla also said it in the postgame, like, this kind of validated that, we can hang with some of the best in the country. Auburn is a really good team. Bruce Pearl said it was the best road game they've played all year. And when you get the best game from the best team in the country, even in your own building, sometimes you just got to chalk it up to the L and tip your hat to an Auburn team that's going to be really, really good. Ole Miss will come back on Tuesday. They don't get any time to relax. They play Kentucky, who is a top 15 team themselves. You once again get Kentucky at home, so another opportunity for Ole Miss to kind of bounce back against another really good team in the SEC. It continues to be a gauntlet, but they continue to play well and I think really prove to themselves and everybody else that they're not going to be a slouch here in the SEC, and they probably should be an NCAA tournament team here moving forward. So that game will be Tuesday in Oxford, and the SJB Pavilion was really, really jumping against Auburn, so I'm sure it'll be much the same way.